So we're getting ready to go now.
It's being okay. Awesome.
There you go. Hi, Sherry.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You look
Good.
beautiful. You look so
You do
gorgeous this evening.
too.
I love it.
Thank you. You and Sherry, right in behind you is a keyboard, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and behind me, you can't see it, but it's a keyboard behind me too, because that's my
Hello.
passion, right?
Hello. This is
Good.
very cool. Twin sisters.
It's so good to see you.
It's
So how have
very
you
good.
been? How have
I've
you been?
been running and working and doing all kinds of things. I just finished teaching 3 classes today. And this week, prepping for a gig that I have tomorrow night at the Kimmel. They have a jam session, but it's going to be an all-star intergenerational group with Luke Carlos O'Reilly. But anyway, yeah, I'm doing good. It's just been a really busy week, but I'm not mad. I'm grateful to God.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, you teach vocal lessons.
I do.
You
I teach.
teach vocal lessons.
Yes, I do. I teach. My youngest student is 6, and my
Oh
oldest
my
student
God.
is 72. Is my oldest student. So they range in age. I think my largest group is 14 to 25. But everybody wants to deal with music, and so I don't have any closeout time frames or ages or anything. If you want to learn, I think, and you have that whole sense of wanting to do something, especially those who are very, very young and those who are seasoned. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to teach them. So yeah, it's good.
Okay. Okay. And how long have you been teaching?
Oof. I've been teaching now. I've been in the music business about 40 years, but I've been teaching about 25.
Oh, that's excellent. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift that I believe God allows most
Mhm,
of us actually.
mhm.
And I take it as a gift and I treat it as something that I really love and I've always wanted to do it. So I know you have things that you may ask me and I don't want to answer them before you ask me.
No, 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 no. But you know what? I asked that because I was teaching piano before
Oh,
the pandemic.
okay.
And then after the pandemic came, it closed me down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to teach online, you know. I want
Okay.
to teach face to face.
Okay.
I'm still in a holding pattern. We were teaching piano, guitar. I had a teacher teaching bass, and then I
Wow.
just got a drummer.
What?
But
So
then
you teaching from a certain location?
I teach from my home.
Awesome. So the
Yeah,
musicians come there.
yes, and they teach the
And
kids.
okay, that is beautiful.
Is that?
Very.
So I'm hoping that maybe next year
It'll come back through. Yeah.
I'm back through. But
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about you now. When
Okay.
did all this begin? When did your music career begin?
Well, I knew at 9 that I wanted to be a singer.
How?
And well, we had a babysitter, my sister and I have a sister younger than me and then a brother. But before my brother was born, we had a babysitter and her name was Betty, and she used to dance all the time, the bandstand. And I would watch her dance, and then I would watch bandstand. I would see the people come on bandstand and perform, and I thought, I like that. And so when she would dance, she broke the refrigerator handle one day. She was telling us, don't tell my mother. And I said, okay, well, we won't tell mommy if you help me be a singer. And she just kind of laughed.
Oh,
She just kind of laughed. But I just remember at 9, I was so impressed by Gladys Knight because she was older than me, but she was still young. When
yeah.
I was a kid, I was at 9. I think she was like 13, 14, something like that.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking that is so awesome. And then we didn't live far from the Uptown Theater, so of course at 9
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yes.
go at 9, but
Mhm.
I persevered. I would tell some of the other girls in the neighborhood. I said we should be singers and have a group, and a lot of them laughed. But one little girl said, "Okay, I want to do that too." And we started practicing and doing things. So by the time we were like 12, maybe 13, we had kind of labored enough to really have the music together. And so we started doing talent shows. And then we won a couple of talent shows, and then we went to the Uptown around 13 or 14, and we won one of the talent shows at the Uptown. And
Yeah.
at that point, my parents were not having it though. They were like, what?
Oh, I understand. I understand.
You want to do what? You want to be a singer? You want to be a school teacher? You can just go upstairs and read a book. And I kept going at it, and we got a manager. Once we won the Uptown, we got a manager because Billy Stewart. There was a guy named Billy Stewart. He sang a song called "Summertime."
Oh, yes. I remember Billy Stewart.
Living is easy. Yeah. So he actually said, "I want you girls to be able to go on the road with me." And I said, "Oh, you got to ask my father. You have to talk to my father." And he came to the house to talk to my dad about us going on the road, but my father was not having that. He told him to get this so-and-so out of his house. How dare he come in here, try to take these young girls on the road? Oh, it was a mess.
I know it was.
Yeah, we didn't go with him, but we still had a manager that we did local little things. We were doing the military bases and installations here in the area. Fort Dix, McGuire Air Force Base. He would take us to do those shows for the military installations. And we started doing those and doing little restaurants and things. And my father still wasn't having that. Actually, by the time I was 15, still trying to do it, still singing, still sneaking to sing. I went to do a gig in Atlantic City with a girl, and I was with the other singer I was talking about, but it was opening in the show for a guy by the name of Pinckney Roberts. And he had Pinckney Roberts and the Go-Go Rebellion.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
He said, "I'll have you girls can open the show for us." And we had our little go-go boots on. We thought we were just doing something really great. And we were at the Wonder Garden. And my father found out, and he called the Wonder Garden and said, "You got a 15-year-old on that stage named Sherry Wilson. And if she gets on that stage, I'm gonna have your club closed down." So they came and got me. They said, "You got to come out of here because we can't have that." And he sent my mother down there to get me. So she came and got me, and I went back home crying. And I went back out the next 2 weeks later. I was on punishment for 2 weeks, but after that, I went back out again. And I kept trying to do it. I kept going to places where they had auditions and sitting in on jam sessions, and kept getting booked different little places. And by the time I was 19, my father finally gave up. And
it was time for me to give up.
Yeah. My aunt actually saw me singing at a club, and she said, "Tom, do you know what Sherry is doing?" And
oh no.
My father said, "What is she doing?" She said, "She's singing at a club and she's wonderful. Did you hear her?" And he's like, "No." She said, "Don't you dare go and upset her." She said, she was the older sister. She said, "You go and you listen to her and don't bother her. Just let her sing." And he came, and he was wild after that. So that was like the very, that was the beginning. And I didn't go on the road like really around the world and stuff though until I was like 22, but 19. I was, and when you persevere, you must really want something. When you start at 9 wanting it, and then you're 11, 12, 13, you're still trying to do it. And by the time you're 19 and 20 and you're still in it, I think it's something that is either in your spirit or something that's going on there. But that's how I started.
Well, that was interesting because my music career began just like that.
Really?
Like that. But the father said no, all the time, no. And my mother would sneak me out. It was, and I guess it happened for the best because what it made me do was go to school, go to college.
That's right.
And have a backup.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have a backup. Yeah, because I went to college too, so I know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. I had a backup. I had a working career.
Okay.
I made good money on my job, but music never left.
Good.
Music never left. But I always had a backup.
Okay. I always had a backup too. I didn't just do the music. I worked for the government for about 4 years.
I worked for the government too.
No way. I was at the Philadelphia Naval Depot in the Northeast, 700 Robbins Avenue. I'll never forget it.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I was a GS1, went through a GS1 through 5. And then my first job, my mother thought I was just, because she said, what are you going to do when I graduated from high school? She said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go and sing. Of course. And she looked at me and said, what did me and your father say to you? And I said, well, Mom, and she knows she did. She woke me up one morning and said, all right, it's Monday. I want you to take a shower, get dressed, and we're going to go somewhere. She took me to K and Erie's. There was a place called Spiegel's Incorporated. Do you remember Spiegel's?
Oh, yeah.
At K and Erie, she said, this is where you're going to be working. My mother, they were determined. I stayed there for 6 months and I started finding me some singing jobs as well. But I always worked. I worked at Spiegel's. I worked for the government. I worked after I went to college. I worked at Cheney University and Temple University, and actually Bryn Mawr as well, Bryn Mawr College, which is a women's college. I went into education. My undergraduate degree is in music and theater, and my master's is in education. So
that's great. That is great. That's a great career. Great career. Now, a lot of the musicians suffered during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And, because places closed down, the venues closed down, and they basically lived off performing, because the recording business is not happening. So they were just living off the performances. And then when that closed down, they were hurting, they were hurting. Now I talked to many of them that said they're opening up somewhat.
It's starting to open back up again.
It's starting to open up. So with your career, it was transferable skills learned also, because are you a songwriter?
I am.
Okay. That's one thing you could always fall back on, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So when I talk to them now, they tell me I'm writing songs, I'm doing my social media kinds of stuff to keep me afloat. So when things open up, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah. Are many of them just getting into songwriting?
Well, no, a lot of them have been in songwriting all the time, but what they're doing now is really trying to focus on their songwriting, because they had like a year and a half to do absolutely nothing.
That's right.
To start building up their skills and all that kind of stuff on social media. So they're learning and have learned how to do a lot of those critical things that we need.
Yeah. Well, that's really important, because you're right. During that time when COVID first hit, none of us were working, teaching, singing, playing, none of that. So, everybody obviously was trying to figure it all out, trying to figure out what to do. You didn't have any shots because that other president was there. So he wasn't trying to help, folks get anything done. So finally, you're right. Finally, now at this point, we are starting to connect back out there. But last year, maybe like the middle into the end of last year, is when I started back to teaching, but I started online. So I began to teach online, and I wasn't sure that students would be as welcoming to that, but they wanted to do that. They were not having classes. The children were bored. Some of the people, like you're saying, some of the ones who were in their 20s or 30s, they weren't working anywhere. So it was kind of a welcome thing for them to take the vocal classes online. I didn't think it would work well, but it did. And now I have a pretty good stable of students, and they still want to do it online. I love teaching in person as well, but I have a couple in Delaware, a couple in New Jersey, one that was living here in Philly, and now she's in LA. So I think they just prefer it for convenience sake now. And just like your friends who are musicians and actually write songs, I understand that, because I wrote a lot of songs while I was trying to see which way we were all going to go. And now I'm in the studio trying to get some of them done.
Well, how did you get the famous position, I would call it, working with Teddy Pendergrass? How did you get that? How did that come about?
That was very interesting, because remember I told you I used to go to the Uptown to look at the shows.
Yeah.
And so I was writing songs then as a kid, like 13, 14
Okay.
still writing songs. So I knew I met Sam Reed, who was a musical
Oh, Sam, yes.
yeah. And I would come backstage and have my little cassette tapes. Tell him, I said, I'm writing songs. I won the talent show. Do you remember me? And he's like,
No.
he's like, you're 13 years old. What are you doing back here? Don't come back here. And I said, why not? Why can't I come back here? He said, these men are not looking at you young ladies like that. You can't come backstage like that. And I was like, but I just want to get my songs. I just want you to take my song. He said, don't come back here anymore. So he told me that week and I came back and I kept coming back. And so I said, well, I won't come in. I'll just give you the tape. So I kept trying to stay in contact with him. So years had gone by and I ran into him. I was somewhere, West Philly. I think I was trying to go to Mr. Silk's to do an audition. I think they were having an open mic or something. Anyway, I called him a couple of times, but he didn't respond. And so I did not know who Teddy Pendergrass was. I knew about Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. And so once he left the Blue Notes and was going on his own, that was when obviously he had connected to Sam. So I was still trying to connect to Sam as well. And I said, Sam, he said, listen, I know you keep sending me these songs. Now your songwriting, I don't have time for that. But I know a guy that just left Harold Melvin. His name is Teddy Pendergrass and he's looking for singers. And I said, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. I said, I sang with Billy Paul before and it was just a whole lot of different things going on. I don't know. So he said, well, just come and take the audition. And I was like, okay. But I had started back to college at that time. And so long story short, I didn't go for like 3 weeks. And he called me and he said, listen, you haven't come in all this time. He said, they having the last audition this Friday. He said, I said, I'm in college now. I don't know. I don't have time. Right. He said, Sherry, just come down. If you don't make it, you don't make it. He said, just come and take the audition. Well, I came down to see if I could deal with the audition. And these girls were in there with long hair, boobs being out and hips and shaking and all kinds of stuff. And I had just come out of class and all I had on was my jeans and a sweatshirt, Temple University. And I'm just, all right, let me go so he won't bug me anymore. So I go in and I asked the piano player, I said, hey, Betcha by Golly Wow in D flat. And the pianist just looks at me and he's like, I don't know it in that key, but listen, go over there and sit down. By the time you get ready, I'll have it. And I was like, what? But I was like, all right, I don't know. I guess this is how these people do. In my head, I'm thinking. So I go and I sit down and I'm watching all the other girls take their auditions and they're flinging their hair and fixing their cells up and doing all kind of, I'm like, oh boy, I'll be glad when this is over. So I go, I look at the guy, I said, you know the song? And he started clinging on the piano. I said, what is that? He said, well, just sing and I'll just try to play. I said, you know what? Don't sing anything. I'm tired. I've been to school all day. I'll sing it a cappella because if I blow this, I'm going to blow it on my own. And I sang Better by Golly Wow a cappella and went over and shook Teddy's hand. I said, thank you very much for the audition. Y'all have a great night. And I walked out. And, they called me back that night. Yeah, they called me that night and said, Teddy, want to know if you could come back tomorrow. I was like, for what?
Oh my gosh.
They say he wants to know if you have other singers that you sing with. I was like, no. Said, well, he wants to know if you can come back tomorrow and see. I went back the next day and he introduced me to the other two girls. And he had about 4 other girls auditioning again like me. And he auditioned them and he auditioned me last. And he said, okay. He said, hello, welcome. Welcome to the Teddy Pendergrass group. And I was like, huh? He said, we go to LA next week. I was like, oh, okay. That's how I got the gig. That's crazy. Just following Sam around, making him my fairy godfather or something.
And we was wonderful. Wasn't it wonderful?
That's God.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't looking for the job. Somebody was coming towards me to get the job. And when I got the job with Billy Paul before Teddy, I think someone had just said they're doing an audition for Billy Paul. And I just went and took the audition. But they were traveling a lot then. And after like about 2 years, I said, okay, well, I don't know if I want to do it anymore. And they were not doing international travel as much. But when I got with Teddy, they were going international, and I thought, my God, this is fascinating. You know, you're traveling the world, and I'd always wanted to go to Italy and places like that. So that kept me on focus with like really staying with the group. And I
How
was
long
with
did you, how long did you stay with him?
5 years.
Oh, great.
5 years. I was there until he had the car accident. So it was
Mhm.
an honor. It was. I know people have many things to say about Ted, but I thought he was. His whole organization was amazing. It was so professional. It was so on point. You knew what you were doing, when you were doing it, how often. He had a manager, a woman, of course,
Mhm.
Sedonia Walker. She she was incredible. She held all of that together. Um, and it was just a great experience working with that professional organization. The musicians were amazing. The management was on point. Teddy kept it straight professional. You know, we had to sign a thing. Yeah, we were supposed to stay focused on our job. You're not supposed to really talk or interact with him. That was cool with me. And it was just it was a great experience. It's probably the best one I had in my life. Probably was the very best that I had in my
Well,
life.
it sounds like it was great. And you learned a lot of different things from that experience,
Oh
right?
man, and saw a lot of different artists, Dionne
Yeah.
Warwick and Gladys Knight, and I mean, all these people came
Uh,
to see him, and we were introduced to them, and we were on tour with the Isley Brothers initially, and then I think from there went with the Commodores, and then other groups. And then it wasn't long after; it was short lived that he opened for other people. I was very short lived because next thing you know, he was on it. It was his tour after that.
yes.
It was
Yes.
amazing. Yeah. Really, really amazing.
But what kind of singer do you classify yourself as?
Well, I'm a contralto, and of course R&B was my
Yes.
love. Yeah, the R&B is what I did most of my life.
Mhm.
Um, but I sing jazz as well. So if I were classifying myself, I would more or less say I like contemporary music, but I like standards, and haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to do as much of them as I'd like. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a project now to do a tribute to Carmen McRae because she's one of my favorites. And she's straight ahead. She's definitely straight ahead. So that's going to be a change for me because I'm an R&B baby, R&B and pop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like jazz as well. I do, and I get an opportunity from time to time to do a little bit of that.
But tell us one performance. I know you've done a lot, but can you choose one or maybe two that you consider your best performances?
Wow, my best, like as a background singer or a lead singer, because I can do both.
Let's do both.
Okay, so
Oh,
one is a lead singer, one is a background singer. I guess
yeah.
the best one for backup would have to be with Teddy. We were in London, England, and
Mm.
we were performing. It had to be at least 20, 30,000 people in the
Oh
audience.
my goodness. Yes.
And we had really just gotten the show tight. You know how you practice and your shows are good, but they get tight at some point. And so
Mhm.
we really gotten the show like super tight. And I remember him singing and the harmonies, harmonizing is really an art. And
Mm.
we finally heard our voices like just gel, like they were glue at that point. And watching him and listening to us and listening and looking at the band, it just seemed like a unit and we were about to go to Vegas at that point because we had really locked the show in really tight. So I would say that performance there in London, England, and that was one that they actually recorded as well. That's one of the performances that are on the internet. I think it's been on Netflix or a few
Okay.
other. But anyway, that was the show that I remember the most, in your face, strong, incredible performance by the whole unit. And to
Mm.
me, that's what makes it work. If it's everyone who's on the team, I'm a team girl. So everybody's got to be on the team. If you're doing a gig, the band has to be in sync with the singer or the singers. The singers have to be in sync with the band. It all has to fit. If it doesn't fit, it just doesn't. If it's not gelling, it just doesn't work. But anyway, that's the one I remember as a background singer. That's the one I remember the very, very. I think that was probably the strongest. Not only that night, but the tour itself, going from England into some of the other countries. We went
Bet
to
you that's a lot.
Scotland and
Mhm.
Ireland at that point, and it was magical at that point because we were doing Europe really strong, and the audiences were crazy, screaming and hollering for him. So
I
as a
know.
yeah,
Yes, I can imagine. Well,
that
Sherry,
was,
do you miss that now?
I don't miss it as far as the travel is concerned because people are so crazy today and COVID and all that. But I do miss meeting and seeing people from other cultures and other backgrounds. I love people, and to have an opportunity to interact and talk with people from England and Scotland and the Caribbean. I've done all of the Caribbean islands, and those things I miss. I miss the people. I love our local people. I really love performing here in the U.S. And there's a special place that I hold dear in my heart, which is the Woodmere Museum. But
Hmm.
the people is what I miss more than the travel. So more than anything else, it's the people. If you don't have an audience, you don't have a show.
No, the audience makes the show.
Yeah,
You
they do.
know,
They
they're
don't
the show.
realize that either. They're just
Mhm.
enjoying themselves, but they don't know they're the
They,
ones that make it. They
they
make,
motivate you,
yeah,
and they make you sing,
yeah,
and the happier they get, the better you perform.
that's right.
It's great.
It's
It's just great.
reciprocal because they're
Hmm.
feeling you and you're feeling them and you're giving your best. If once
Yes.
you feel them, yeah, that's magical too. Yeah. When you feel that and that feeling, and you see them clapping their hands or they're moving or singing or dancing with you or
Singing
whatever.
your song, they're singing your song. They put the mic out and they just start
That's
singing.
right. That's right. And now, especially because I'm not doing a lot of shows because
Mhm.
COVID is just starting to, people just starting to kind of acclimate to how to handle themselves. But the shows that I'm doing, the people are so incredibly grateful to be able to come out and hear good music. And they're just happy. You could see their faces that they're just elated that they have an opportunity to come out of their houses, be in an open air environment and feel the
Mhm.
music that people are singing and playing. Man, there's nothing like seeing their faces like that. I was doing we did a tribute to Motown with the Arpeggio Jazz Ensemble, which is one of the groups that I get an opportunity. They are so awesome. But in doing that show for that tribute to Motown, we did quite an array of tunes, but I did a rendition of Gladys Knight, Neither One of Us. And
Mhm.
I know that the audience was so hungry to hear good music. I got a standing ovation. I didn't even know they were standing because I was so engrossed in the song. And I opened my eyes and I was like,
Yes, you did.
what are
Yes.
they
Yes.
doing? It was more than magical. It was like electric. It was because I didn't expect that.
You know, you got a standing ovation when you sang at Sam's Reed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you were absolutely great.
Thank you.
Um, and the people were so into the song you were singing and the way you were singing, and your voice was absolutely awesome.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
had
I
to
don't know
sing.
whether you were noticing or not, but you got a standing ovation then.
I
Also.
didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I saw their faces and I heard them singing the chorus with me.
Yes. Yeah.
Higher, higher.
They
And
were
that filled me. So right there, that just filled me up to hear them singing the song along with me. I don't know. People just do something to me. When they're good people around you and good people, have good feelings, it's an awesome thing. It really is. And I think that's why I still love performing and teaching. I think I
mm,
love them both equally as well. But yes, I did not see them really. I really did
yeah.
not see them. But it
They
was
they were singing along and they were happy, and you were really singing that song. It was really
it's well, it's
fantastic.
in your heart. When you feel something and you really want it,
Mm-hmm.
you really want to connect. It's in your heart and your spirit. And it's when you know it's a gift, because you know what, we don't have to be here. None of us with COVID haven't gone through, nobody. It's a lot of us that don't
That's not,
have to be here, and we're still here.
yeah,
So God has something for us all to do. I believe that anyway. Those of us who are here, I think He has some things for us.
something else for us to do. He's
Yep.
not finished with us yet. And in the morning, I always listen to my my TV programs, my Joyce Myers and, you know,
Okay.
Anthony Womack. I listen to all those guys, and they always say that you're here for a reason, you know,
Yeah,
because COVID could have taken you out too.
that's
You know?
right.
And it motivates me in the morning to get up and get started and outline everything that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that I'm never alone, you know, because
Right.
sometimes you feel alone, but you're never alone.
That's right.
God's always there with you.
Yeah. We have kindred spirits because I get up in the morning, I meditate and pray. And
Yeah.
so sometimes I'll get a chance to look at a program, but many times not because I'm like yourself running. So I will
Yeah.
get do my meditation and prayer, and then you're right. I write out what I have to deal with for that day, and then I'm moving. I'm in it. I'm either teaching a class or figuring out what rehearsal I gotta have to deal with, or trying to put things together. And I'm writing some things and got a couple projects I'm trying to work through. So yeah, when you have an agenda, you got to take a good look at
Yeah.
how you're going to get things done. It's not just about doing it. It's about planning it out and seeing what players or what other people you can involve. And because it's not just about you. You have to make a connection to other people. It's good to talk things out with other people and see uh, who can work with you, who may be better at something than you are. You want to connect to them, and maybe you can help them in some way or another. So music and entertainment and the arts is just not about the individual. It's about connection. It's about communication. It's about planning. It's about so much. And that's one of the things that I talk to my students about, because I think many of them think, well, I'm just going to look good and I'm just going to go out there. And it's much more than that. But they're young. So they got a little ways to go when you're trying to teach them something. But most of them, I won't say most, but some of them think they already know it. So
Know
you
it
kind
all.
of work through and try to help them understand it's more than just a song. I always say singing is more than a song. It's
Yes.
more than a song. Yeah.
Well, how now that you're a solo artist,
Mhm.
right? So what are your future plans? Are you recording now? Are you
Yeah.
planning to record? Tell me about that.
Well, I am recording now. I wrote a song called Seasoned Woman, and it talks about those of us who are 30 plus and the things that we go through, the stages that
Mm,
we go through in life. It's
mm,
not just about the age. Sometimes it's the season of relationships. Sometimes it's the season of where you are in life. Sometimes it's the season of people around you and how things have changed in the midst of COVID. Seasons are more than just the four: fall, winter, summer, and what I want to say, fall, spring, summer,
yeah.
and fall. It's much more than that. So
Mhm.
Seasoned Woman is going to and is talking about the various stages that we go through as women. But my overall program is called Seasons Projects. And so that's going to go into areas of performances, speaking and engagements, uh,
Mm,
a little bit of theater and some writing. That's one segment of it.
mhm,
Another segment is focused on helping the community, people in the community
mhm,
understand the arts a little bit more and how it works to enhance their intellect. Because singing is more than a song, and so is music. It enhances the intellect of our children. I think that's one of the reasons why, unfortunately, they took it out of the school systems, because they knew how it elevated our children, especially how it elevates all children, but primarily when you think about how children work in the arts and how they're able to use what they learn in the arts for mathematics, for English, for communication. Um, that's the thing that takes them to that next level.
yeah.
And so because that was removed, a lot of them don't have that in their educational system. And that's why many of them look for a vocal coach like me and others. Um, I don't want to go too far from what you asked me, and that is, what are some of the projects? Seasons is the primary project that I'm working on. And that's going to splinter into 5 different areas. I don't want to give you too much right now because I'm working through it. And I'm working right now with 2 other women who are going to work with me and put their names on it as well in
That's
the
great.
directions that the program and the projects themselves will go into. So I say to people, stay tuned, because once we formulate things and get it all in place, I would like to go ahead and then make a good announcement about what will be expected and what kind of things will be opened up through seasons. But Seasoned Woman or Seasoned Women
Mhm.
is the song that is already completed. And what we're going to be doing is embellishing it in the studio the next 2 to 4 weeks. And then that'll be released probably either right before or right after Christmas. And then at that time, you'll get a chance to learn more about seasons and how and where and what directions it will actually go into. It's going to be exciting. It's exciting for me. I'm really
That
excited.
sounds exciting.
Yeah.
That sounds
And
exciting.
we won't just offer things for women. It will be opened up. Projects are for men, for children. So it's
Yeah.
not just a one-sided thing. Women is because I'm a woman, and
Mhm.
most of the women that I know in the arts still have to struggle because it's such a male dominated industry. We still have to struggle a little bit sometimes. And I don't mind saying that to you brothers that are out there. We still struggle a little bit because it is male dominated. And we know we hold our own positions in the music industry, but it's still a struggle for not us to perform and or lead and or direct things. That's not the issue. The issue is sometimes it's not well accepted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once we communicate a little bit more, then I think people get men and those who are in positions of power, I think they get a greater understanding once we have a discussion about what we're doing and we start to outline how things will go for us. I think it's more appreciated that way. So again, seasons will be open for men, women, and children, and anyone else who will partake of the things that will be offered through projects, programs, performances, and education.
Well, that sounds wonderful. That
Yeah,
sounds
it's gonna
wonderful.
be fun too. It's gonna be fun, and
So,
and I
so
can't wait for all the pieces to be in place.
it's going to get there.
Yeah,
You sound very excited about it, and it's going to get there.
yeah.
And I wanted so bad for my partner to be here with me tonight.
Oh,
He he's sick.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He was sick and he couldn't be here.
Okay,
But he said that he'll meet you sooner or later,
okay.
because he has his radio, Philly Live Radio. We have all that going on,
What does he have?
and
He has what?
Philly Live Radio. He does
Okay,
Philly Live. He has an internet radio station.
awesome.
Yeah. And so he has a lot going on. So he said, I'm just going to take it easy tonight because
Yeah,
he didn't feel
I don't blame him.
a
Yeah, I really
chance to
don't.
see him.
Yeah. Well, we have
But
to learn to take 5 for ourselves anyway. Sometimes
I
we run
know
so hard.
sometimes you just have to take a break.
That's
Like I
right.
took a break for about 2 months because I was just exhausted.
I understand. I wish I could take a break for 2 months. That's awesome that you
I
could
was
do
just
that.
exhausted and I couldn't do anymore.
And it was so much needed. I know it was.
Yeah, it was a lot that needed to be done.
I
But
can,
some of the things that you would be doing, are you gonna put out a CD?
I'm debating on whether it's going to be a CD or, maybe something less. I'm going to see because I'm talking to a co-producer, Shamari Coles, who has a studio, a Little Drummer Boy studio in South Philadelphia. So I'm talking with him and I'm talking with some other people too, to see which way we're going to go with it. Because again, it won't be released before after Christmas and between after Christmas and the springtime. So if the tunes work out, I have about 25 tunes that I want to do,
Oh, wow.
but I don't want to put them obviously all in there. So I'm trying to pick and choose which ones will fit into this particular focus that we have for seasons right now. So we'll see
Okay.
what happens. Yeah. We'll see
Okay.
yeah.
What
That's
what what I would like for you to do is words of inspiration
okay.
to, there's many artists that are trying to get out there and just do what you are doing. Many, okay?
Yeah.
And we want to give them some inspiration of how, when, and where, and what to do and how they should go about it. Could you do that for me?
I would be honored. First of all, I'll tell them like I tell my students.
Mhm.
It's hard work, but it's good work. And so what you really have to do is understand what it is you actually want to do. Do you want to be a performer? Are you multi-dimensional in your art form? Can you dance, sing, write? Would you like to
Mhm.
act, sing, write? What is it that you actually want to do? Because the more talents that you recognize within yourself, the better off you're going to be, because then you're not one or two-sided. You have other avenues and options, and you don't have to depend on one. When I was younger, I didn't really get it. I didn't get that you had to have, I knew I wanted to write. I knew I wanted to sing, but I could have been doing other things as well. And I got into it later, but, and it wasn't too late. It was later than I wish I had it. I got into voiceover
Mhm.
with Stephanie Renee. I don't know if a lot of people might know Stephanie Renee, but
Mhm.
she was doing some voiceover work. And so I got into that later. So my words of inspiration would be identify where you see your talents. Write out some of the things that you would like to do. If you don't know what you should be doing, the internet is the greatest force you can have in the world, because you can go on the internet and start to investigating what you could do as a lead vocalist, what you can do as a voiceover artist, what you can do as an actress. If it's acting, because I have some students who are taking vocal lessons with me, but they're acting, they're actresses. And so I tell them to work on that craft as well. If you're a
Mhm.
dancer and you sing, work on that craft as well as singing, but take vocal lessons, not just from me,
Yeah, yeah.
from
Mhm.
whomever that you know is a good teacher. And a good teacher is like having a good shoe. You got to have a good shoe. The shoe can't just be on your foot tight, because guess what? Your feet gonna hurt later on. But if you
Mhm.
put on those shoes and the shoe is comfortable, that's when you know you've got a good teacher. So number one, identify what creative talent you actually have. Write down where or how you'd like to promote and or work within that talent. The first thing is to get some education about it, know a little bit more about what it is. So after you're writing down that kind of information for yourself, start to make some contacts. Go to some of the jam sessions so that you can feel out how you can sing. Look at some of the
Excellent.
bands that are in the area. Go and
Mhm.
check out some of the bands and work with the musicians, and don't go in there being a diva, because that's not what it's about. Go in there humble, trying to learn from musicians and other artists, and talking to them about how they got to where they need to go. I went one way, somebody else would go another way. So the more you talk to other people, the better off you're going to be. And
Mhm.
step out on faith. Don't just
Yes,
think about it and
yes.
talk about it. Don't do
Yeah.
just that. Talk about it's good, but figure out how you're going to step out on that faith and deal with that particular journey in your life. If you're going to be a singer, you're focused on singing for that particular time, find out what kind of agents there are, what kind of organizations there are that support singers. After you've done your homework and studying for whatever amount of time you can, and talk to your vocal coach if you have one, so that they can kind of lead you into, they have contacts too. I have some contacts I tell my students about whenever they come up. I say, okay, you might want to call so-and-so and see if that can work for you. So do your homework, number one. Number two, um, educate yourself. Number three, um, step out and try to get the experiences before you step out and try to make your move on what it is you're actually stepping into. Do your homework first, but you gotta go out, go to the jam sessions, talk to other people. Once you get some interviews, you don't have to do official interview with them, but do some interviewing and find out what it is and who they know as well. There's some organizations in the area that you would want to tap into. The Grammy, there are different Grammy, what do I want to call them? The Grammy Awards has a connection here in Philadelphia, as well as California, New York, and everywhere else. Where else? Look on the internet and check them out and see what it is they actually can do to make you or help you get connected to other people. Do they have meetings? Do they have workshops? Are there conferences that they have? Check some of those things out as well, and you make good connections. Network with friends, family, and those people who are in the business. Networking is the really best thing anyone can do, because when you network, you're going to meet with people who are going to help you. And even though you may not run into them in bunches, you're going to run into someone who will say, okay, well, I know someone who does so-and-so, or I'm looking for a vocalist to do this gig I have on Saturday night. So network. It's really important that you network, not only with other artists, but with people in the audience, people who come to the shows, people who are on the radio, television, and the internet. So it's really important that you network as well.
That was excellent advice.
Thank you.
And it was detailed.
Yes.
You know, it covered a lot of territory.
Yeah.
You
But it
told
takes a lot. It takes a lot of territory. And some people get confused thinking, well, I didn't make it yet. I'm 22. You're just getting started. You know, we look at the young ones who come in the music industry and they're like 13, 14, 15. That's fine and dandy, but you really don't hit your high heaven until you in your 20s and 30s. That's when you really are rolling, because you really have kind of mastered, in a way, whatever your craft is. Do you want to do or perform in your teens and into your 20s and 30s? Yeah, you can do it for as long as you want. The sky's the limit, but you got to keep yourself out there, and you have to keep yourself together. Stay healthy, eat well, exercise. You can't get to the point in your life as you and I have gotten by just slouching around and just dealing with whatever comes. No, you got to work at it. So it's a constant grind. So don't think you ever made it, because once you made it, you still ain't made it. So never think that. Please don't think that. You have to always reach for higher ground. Always. You just want to master.
That's some good advice, some wonderful advice. And I hope they're listening to this advice. But this video will be played like over and over, different times, and they will hear that. And do you have a website that they can go to, that they can hear some of the information you just said?
I do, and I would love it. You can email me, first of all, it's Sherry, SHERRY, singsforyou@comcast.net. Sherry, SHERRY.
Great email.
Yeah,
Great.
Singsforyou at Comcast. And Cher's House of Voice, www.Cher's House of Voice. You can also go to that website and email me or send in a comment, and I certainly will respond and give whatever information that you have. If I don't have it, I'll get it. Because I love people, and I love the fact that there are people who are out there looking to move forward, elevate themselves in the arts industry. So I'd be more than happy to help you out in whatever way I can.
And I am happy and overjoyed that you were featured on the show today, because that information you gave was very valuable. And your career is fantastic. All the things you've done, all the travel, your education, girl, you've done it all. And just
I'm still trying to work at it.
Still doing stuff, right? There's more and more in that bag of goodies that you're going to do before it's all over with, right?
I pray to God. Yes, I do.
Yes. And there's so many people that you have touched through your lifetime with your voice, with your words of wisdom. You've touched so many people, and then you're touching them as far as giving them an education, how to sing, how to breathe, how to do that, and the passion that goes beyond whatever the craft may be.
That's right.
So I want to thank you for your contribution to the music industry, because it is awesome.
Thank you. And I am honored. I really am honored and delighted to have this opportunity to speak with you, first of all, and then to have an opportunity to speak with the people, on Facebook. And I can't tell you how honored I really am. This is a great time, and I just feel really blessed to have this opportunity with you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And Sherry, thank you too. It's 8:00. It's time for us to go.
Yes, ma'am.
But thank you. And I'm going to be I'm going to be in touch with you, right?
I cannot wait. I'm so excited about that as well. I just feel like it's such a blessing. I really, really do. I feel like it's such a blessing. And I know meeting you is not by hapstance. I'm
no
excited about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we will be in touch, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you, Facebook, for joining us tonight.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hi. And Jalil, didn't I ask y'all not to make that noise? Didn't I ask you and Jalil? I beg y'all not to make that noise. I told y'all, I said, all that noise you could hear, and Jalil even came down here. And I told y'all, I said, the noise you could hear. I told him,